Of what a bank can be, come to America. By Greektown Casino Hotel, the only casino in the heart of downtown Detroit. And by Ram. How about that? Niko Goodrum and Craig Monroe visiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum here in Kansas City during our visit. And I'll tell you what, that's one of the great attractions here in Kansas City. It's located in the historic 18th and Vine District, right next to the American Jazz Museum. And if you ever find yourself out here in Kansas City for a baseball game, I encourage you to make it a point to get out there. And they do a great job of preserving the history and educating all that come through there of the rich history of African-American baseball and really the social impact in our society. And this is the 100th anniversary of the Detroit Stars, and we have an upcoming Tigers Inside the Tigers edition where we'll highlight all the efforts of the Detroit Stars, and we're going to give you a brief snippet of the private tour that Niko Goodrum and our Craig Monroe got from the curator, Ray Doswell. Have a look.
Welcome to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. We're glad to have you all here. I'm Ray Doswell. I'm Vice President here at the museum and curator. We're pleased to welcome you. We know Detroit has a very rich history with the Negro Leagues, has some of the more popular players and teams that were part of the league. Here at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, we focus on the history of African Americans in baseball from the late 1800s up through the 1960s. And we emphasize what was called back then the professional Negro Leagues. During this time period, late 1800s up through like the 1940s, 1930s, African Americans are moving all over the country. After slavery and after the Reconstruction period, they're moving from the plantations and farms to the cities. And then they're moving from the cities, especially in the South, to the Midwest, to places like Kansas City and Detroit and St. Louis and Chicago. The black folks love baseball. They were fans of Babe Ruth and many others, but to be able to root for black athletes and black players was very important to them as well. And these were businesses that thrived in the community. They employed people, and they made it great for people to have a leisure activity for them to go to whenever possible. Among those early great teams were the Detroit Stars, who started in 1919 and were part of the early formation of the Negro National League. And among their great stars was Norman Stearns, better known as Turkey. Turkey, I believe, got the nickname because, and there are a couple different stories about it. I think one of the real reasons why he got the name was because of the way he flapped his arms after he would round the bases. But there are a couple of different stories about how he got the name. Welcome to the Field of Legends. And on the field, you've earned the right to walk here on the field among the greats immortalized in bronze who were veterans of the Negro Leagues. Many of them are inducted to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And I wanted to start with the legendary Cool Papa Bell here. He's one of our outfielders from Starkville, Mississippi, but played on many teams, including the Homestead Grays and the Crawfords, among others. One of the fastest men in sports history. We don't want their stories to be forgotten. It's important that you guys here keep spreading the word about our place, but about this history, and understand you're part of a great lineage of history. And it's not just for black and Latino players, it's for the white players too, to understand where they've come from. We're part of that history. We want folks to come and share it. So we appreciate you guys being here, and come back anytime.